It was Sunday, October 19th, 2025. A quiet morning at the Louvre Museum explodes into one of the most brazen daylight jewel thefts in history. Glass cases are cut, priceless crown jewels, some centuries old, are gone. They descend the ladder. They flee on electric scooters. Total time inside, 4 minutes. Experts and news outlets were quick to compare this robbery with one of the most notorious organized crime networks in modern history, the Pink Panthers. I'm Alexis Cimino. This is Conspiracy Vault. Today on Conspiracy Vault, we are going to take a closer look at the Louvre Heist from 2025 and examine some of the most elaborate and high-profile heists in modern history. At the time of this recording, there is no official link to the Pink Panthers in connection to the Louvre Heist. Only time will tell. Okay, let's start with a quick history lesson. For more than 2 decades, an elusive criminal network has been linked to some of the boldest luxury heists in the world. They specialize in speed, disguise, and confidence, striking jewelry stores, galleries, and high-security locations across more than 35 countries, with losses estimated near $1 billion. Despite hundreds of arrests, no confirmed leader, no headquarters, and no formal hierarchy have ever been identified. Even their name, Pink Panthers, didn't come from them, and how they got it, we'll talk about that a little later. All right, let's get in there. Oh my God. This is the size of my dog. How do I look? So this is a pompadour wig, and we're going to learn more about how the Pink Panthers utilized it in one of their most famous heists. Do I look good? I feel like I look good. Let's start where the legend really took shape. London, May 2003. Inside Graf's flagship jewelry store, an eccentrically dressed customer browsed diamonds. His suit looked normal, his umbrella looked normal, but his awkwardly fitting pompadour wig did not. The man, later identified as Naboisha Danique, examined a 12-carat diamond ring worth 450,000 pounds, then casually asked,
"Do you have something smaller?"
Before staff could respond, Danique pulled out a chrome-plated .357 Magnum and ordered everyone to the floor. The wig wasn't just a disguise. It was a psychological weapon. It made him memorable, yeah, but more importantly, it made him look harmless, even absurd. Staff focused on how strange he looked, not on what he was capable of. All right, item 2. Okay, so this is a hammer, obviously. And this is one of the most common tools the Pink Panthers use throughout their heists. Like, the amount of times they just go in, whack it, and take something is insane. It's insane. It's that easy. So the pompadour wig distraction worked because the real theft didn't happen with the wig or the gun. It happened with this. While Danique controlled the room, another man, Predrag Vujocevic, a Montenegrin in his 20s, stormed into the store with a hammer, smashing display cases and scooping up 47 pieces of diamond jewelry. In minutes, they escaped with 23 million pounds worth of jewels. The hammer wasn't clever, it was common. By the early 2000s, smash and grabs using hammers were already standard in Europe. What the Panthers perfected was the speed. No lasers, no safe cracking, no finesse, just speed over elegance. Destroy the barrier, take the prize, then disappear. All right, Conspiracy Vault, item number 3. All right, well, this is a bottle of moisturizer. Oh, guys. This looks hilarious. Do you need any moisturizer while it's open? It's a ring, and let's talk about it. Within days, Scotland Yard identified another accomplice, Milan Jovetic, responsible for travel logistics. Detectives searched the apartment where he was staying with his girlfriend. Inside, they found fake Italian passports, blank, no names, no photos, and then a jar of face cream. Hidden inside the moisturizer was a blue diamond ring worth over $750,000. The press immediately dubbed the group the Pink Panthers, a nod to the 1975 film The Return of the Pink Panther, where a jewel is hidden in the exact same way. And if we can get a license for that clip, you're gonna see it right now. Wasn't that great? Look at that, look at that. Love copyright laws. The ring was recovered, but as of today, the majority of the haul, estimated at over 20 million pounds, remains missing. Police soon realized this wasn't a one-off crime and began connecting past and present crimes to the Panthers. All right, let's go back in for number 4. All right, so this is a paint can, this is a paintbrush. And why do we have these, you ask? I'm about to tell you. In 2001, a Panther crew targeted a jewelry store in the coastal town of Biarritz. And what really stands out isn't what happened during the robbery, it's what happened beforehand. To eliminate witnesses, the thieves painted a bench outside the store just hours earlier. Not to vandalize it, but to make sure no one would sit there and watch. That one detail tells you almost everything you need to know about how these jobs were planned. They weren't just thinking about alarms or security systems. They were thinking about how people move, where they pause, and what they notice. Disguises pull attention in the wrong direction. Speed limits how long anyone can react. And sometimes, something as simple as paint can remove a problem entirely. Okay, one more really quick history lesson. Over the years, the Pink Panthers carried out dozens, possibly hundreds, of heists across Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. 2 Serbian men walked into a high-end jewelry store in Tokyo wearing wigs. Then, within minutes, they pulled out their guns, cleared the display cases. They walked out with the Contessa Vendôme necklace. The value was estimated at $31.6 million. In 2005, a Panther crew hit a jewelry store in Saint-Tropez. Inside, they pulled handguns, emptied the cases, and ran. But instead of heading for a getaway car, they ran straight towards the water and climbed onto a speedboat, disappearing along the coast with a multi-million-dollar haul. In Amsterdam, thieves disguised as airport ground crew used uniforms and access badges to move 75 million euros worth of jewelry. They transferred it directly onto a plane and took off. Then came Con. In 2013, a single-armed man walked into a private jewelry exhibition. Security was minimal and the atmosphere was relaxed. He pulled a gun, calmly filled a bag with gems and watches, and walked out. The estimated value was $136 million, one of the largest jewel thefts ever recorded. By then, even crimes the Panthers didn't commit were being blamed on them. That's how famous these guys are. All right, back in the conspiracy vault for item number 5. This is so cute. Beep, beep. Remember Tech Decks? Can you do a kickflip? No. This is an Audi, which the producer shot with a shrink ray. When the Panthers can't rely on confidence, disguises, or a controlled entry, they switch to a much more aggressive tactic. The idea is blunt. You don't get inside the store, you destroy the store itself. In 2007, they used that method in one of their most infamous operations at Wafi Mall. 2 rented Audi sedans smashed through the mall's glass entrance, then kept going straight into the doors of the Graf boutique inside. 3 masked men jumped out, ran directly into the store, grabbed $3.4 million worth of jewelry, and escaped the same way they came in, back into the Audis. From entry to exit, the entire robbery lasted less than a minute. But for all its spectacle, the Wafi Heist in Dubai wasn't perfect. Investigators later recovered the abandoned rental cars. Inside them, they found DNA, evidence that tied the robbers to an earlier Panther job in Liechtenstein. Police also traced a cell phone number used to rent the vehicles, which helped identify 8 suspected Pink Panther members connected to the operation. All right, ladies and gents, let's look at item number 6. In February 2008, the group crossed into far more dangerous territory, museum-grade fine art. Late one evening, armed thieves stormed the Kunsthaus Zurich, one of Europe's most respected art museums. Visitors were still inside, guards were present, but the timing was deliberate. Just before closing, when attention was divided and response times were slower. The thieves threatened staff and forced them to the floor. Then they went straight to the walls. Within minutes, they removed 4 specific masterpieces: a Claude Monet, a Vincent van Gogh, an Edgar Degas, and a Paul Cézanne. The estimated combined value, more than $145 million. Diamonds can be recut, gold can be melted, but art like this, it's a liquid. You can't hide it, you can't move it quietly, not without serious criminal connections. Years later, 2 paintings turned up in a car. The other 2 were gone without a trace. Investigators believe they became collateral in major deals, hidden as assets or traded underground forever. All right, let's go into the conspiracy vault for our final item. Oh, nice. Yeah, I can see why they didn't fit in the vault. Despite dozens of arrests across Europe, one thing has remained strikingly consistent: pressure doesn't work. Panthers who are caught rarely give up information. Not about leadership, not about hierarchy, not about where the jewels go. After years of investigations, law enforcement still has no confirmed evidence of a centralized command structure. Because of that, many investigators believe the Pink Panthers aren't a traditional crime syndicate at all, but a loose network of Serbian, Montenegrin, Bosnian, and other former Yugoslav criminals. Some detectives suspect targets are passed down from an unknown higher level. Others believe crews self-assemble for specific jobs. What's clear is this: many Panthers don't even know one another. And yet, when one of them goes to prison, the others show up. That's where the ladder comes in. In 2003, a Serbian national named Dragan Mikic, one of the Panthers involved in the infamous bench painting robbery, was arrested just one day after stealing from a jewelry store in Courchevel, France. While in custody, local prosecutor Gilbert Lafayette noticed something unusual. Mikic wasn't scared. Lafayette later said, quote, "These guys don't care about being put into jail. They know they're going to escape." Later that year, Mikic made his first escape attempt, breaking free from guards after a court hearing and sprinting across a highway. Police opened fire. He was shot in the leg. Authorities transferred him to what they believed was a more secure prison in southern France. They were wrong. One day, an accomplice approached the prison wall and threw wire cutters and a ladder over the fence. At the same time, another man opened fire with an AK-47, pinning down guards and creating chaos. Mikic climbed the ladder and vanished. He was never recaptured. Isn't that insane? That's crazy. Like, these men are built different. A decade later, the pattern repeated: bigger, louder, and more organized. In July 2013, Panther member Milan Poporic was serving a 6-year sentence in Switzerland for a jewel heist committed in 2009. During an outdoor exercise period, a van suddenly rammed the prison gate, smashing through the barrier between the exterior road and the inner yard. At the same time, accomplices unleashed a hail of, you guessed it, AK-47 gunfire, forcing guards to take cover. Poporic and another inmate ran to the fence, where, once again, a ladder had been pre-positioned. Poporic became the 3rd Pink Panther to escape a Swiss prison in just 3 months. It's pretty clear that prison isn't the end of the job. Escape is part of the plan. Now it's time for some theories. But here's where things get murky. Because when you look at the prison escapes, people risking their lives to break each other out, it becomes clear that the Panthers are more than just individuals who occasionally work together. Investigators have long noted that what appears to link them isn't a boss or a formal hierarchy, but shared background. A large number of men tied to Panther League heists come from the same region, the former Yugoslavia, particularly Serbia, Montenegro, and Bosnia. International law enforcement agencies, including Interpol, have repeatedly flagged transnational jewel theft networks originating from that region. Enough that the pattern has been formally tracked across multiple investigations. The timing matters. Many of these criminal networks emerged during and after the Balkan Wars of the 1990s, a period marked by political collapse, economic instability, and mass displacement. Analysts have noted that this environment contributed to the rise of organized criminal groups across the region. Some investigators and commentators have suggested that, for certain participants, these heists may carry symbolic weight, targeting luxury jewelers, museums, and cultural institutions in Western Europe. But even that theory comes with important caveats. In a 2010 New Yorker article, a man who claimed familiarity with Panther operations dismissed the idea of ideology altogether. According to him, the group isn't driven by politics or revenge. As he put it, they, quote, hate everybody. The structure, he said, is simple. You get a call, you meet a group, you do the job, you get paid. Some participants are friends, some are cousins, many end up in prison. And despite decades of heists and hundreds of arrests, no one has ever publicly identified a leader, a headquarters, or a centralized command structure, or definitively explained where the stolen goods ultimately go. Some investigators claim that the Panthers aren't doing this for politics or revenge, they're just doing a job. Which leaves the biggest question unresolved. If no one is in charge, who organizes the next job? And where will it happen? Okay, so here's our final question. Did the Pink Panthers rob the Louvre? Officially, no. No one has publicly linked the October 19th, 2025 Louvre heist to the Pink Panthers. There has been no formal attribution by French authorities. And yes, arrests were made. Following the robbery, investigators arrested what they believe was a 4-man commando team, the individuals who physically entered the museum and smashed the display cases. They were identified through DNA evidence recovered at the scene, including from a scooter, a helmet, gloves, and broken glass. One suspect had previously worked museum security. Another had a prior history of jewelry-related offenses. These were not random passerby. So on the surface, the case appears straightforward. But here's where it becomes complicated. The jewels are still missing. 8 historic pieces, including Napoleon-era crown jewels, remain unaccounted for. One crown belonging to Empress Eugenie was dropped during the escape and later recovered, damaged outside the museum. The remaining items, valued at more than $100 million, have not resurfaced. None of the arrested suspects were found in possession of them. None have produced them, and investigators have publicly acknowledged that the destination of the jewels remains unknown. As a result, authorities continue to examine whether additional individuals were involved, including possible insiders, facilitators, or third parties who may have taken control of the stolen items after the robbery. Because breaking display cases is one thing, quietly moving irreplaceable national treasures is another. This structure has appeared repeatedly in cases historically associated with the Pink Panthers. Law enforcement agencies have long noted the Panther-linked crimes tend to operate in layers, with those who execute the theft separated from those who ultimately handle the stolen goods. That separation alone has made recovery and prosecution at higher levels extremely difficult. When investigators analyze crimes like this, they don't begin with rumors. They look at patterns. First, the target. This wasn't a jewelry store or a private collection. It was one of the most symbolically important museums in the world. Historically, Panther-linked thefts have focused not only on monetary value, but on cultural significance, including crown jewels, exhibition pieces, and major works of art. Second, the method. There were no high-tech intrusion, no cyber attacks, no elaborate theatrics. Instead, disguises, speed, and confidence. Sound familiar? That approach, prioritizing speed over complexity, aligns with tactics seen repeatedly in past Panther-linked crimes. Third, the disappearance. Tools were left behind. Evidence was recovered. Suspects were identified, but the most valuable items remain missing. For more than 2 decades, that unresolved disappearance, not the theft itself, has been the most consistent feature of Pink Panther cases. So the arrests don't prove the Pink Panthers carried out the Louvre heist, but they also do not eliminate the comparison. Because the real mystery of the Louvre robbery isn't who entered the museum, it's who took control of the jewels afterward. And for 25 years, that unanswered question has remained the defining feature of the Pink Panthers. Whether they were involved in the case or not, one thing is clear. Whoever planned the Louvre heist understood that playbook. And that may be the most unsettling part of all.